Pastor Bill Owens, right? And where is your ministry right now? In
We're in Memphis, Tennessee,
in the
and Las Vegas,
awesome.
Henderson, Nevada.
Okay, wonderful. And so you were explaining earlier in the conference how the homosexual lobby took the civil rights movement
Right,
of the African American community
right,
throughout the South.
right.
And what happened?
They studied it. I mean, they studied the whole movement. The civil rights movement really had been existing for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing that sparked the massive civil rights movement was Rosa Parks. It was like time, the right time came together.
Uh-huh.
Dr. King had just gotten his doctorate at Boston University, and Rosa Parks just decided not to move that day. There was nothing planned, and Dr. King was there in the city, and they went to him, and that's the start of it. But I think some things came together. Dr. King did not line up with the NAACP. The NAACP had become stagnant. They were just a big organization, and they believed in just negotiating.
That sounds a lot like the establishment pro-family
Right,
movement.
right.
They just wanted power and a name.
Right. And Dr. King came along and said, we must become involved, and called the march, the Montgomery March. And it took off. It just took off. And I think it was, he said, Dr. King said it was a time. It was time for change. And that change comes about through people.
Mm-hmm.
And they were willing to give their life. A lot of people don't know this, but Dr. King and the leaders of the civil rights movement, none of them felt they would live to be past 40. They thought
Because of all the hate and the evil.
they would
and
probably get killed before 40.
Oh my.
None
yeah.
of them expected to live past 40. He was the one that was killed at 39, 38, 39. But it caught on like wildfire across the country. And he involved children. He was criticized for involving children. I mean, high school children and elementary children. He did things that was not thought of. And now, don't forget the fact that Dr. King was hated by a lot of black people. Don't think they praise
really?
him today, but they didn't all praise him then.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
And why was that?
I can't say everything. Some were absolutely jealous.
Okay.
That he got so much attention. He was a member of the big national convention. He was forced out. So they started what they call now the Progressive Baptists. The people that aligned with him across the country formed another Baptist convention because they didn't want him in the other one. It was a Dr. Jackson who was over the convention in Chicago, and he hated King. So they left that convention and organized the Progressive Baptist Convention, which exists till today.
And this Progressive Baptist Convention, are they also embracing gay marriage and other perversions?
I don't know their stand today. I just know the history.
Okay.
Because I remember the bad blood that Dr. Jackson had for Dr. King.
Okay.
And I remember the much criticism that Dr. King got for his stand. He did not dance by anybody's music. He did what he felt he was led to do. Like President Johnson signed the Civil Rights Bill, the Voters' Right? But King felt President Johnson was wrong on Vietnam. He came out very powerful against Johnson. He was one of his worst critics
Yes.
for Vietnam because he felt it was wrong. So Dr. King did not try to be popular. He did not line up with people because of who they were. He spoke truth to power.
Okay.
Period.
Okay. Were you there? So you were there in Tennessee at the time during the civil rights
Of
movement?
course, I was in it.
You were there. Okay.
See, let me tell you about.
See, I don't know. I didn't know, but
Let
something's
me
for.
tell you about Tennessee.
Okay.
Tennessee is a university community.
So-
You have
okay.
Vanderbilt, you have American Baptist, you have Meharry, which is, you didn't have a two black medical colleges in the country. That was Howard and Meharry. And Meharry Medical School, you had Fisk University, you had American Baptist where John Lewis went. So you had thousands of students in Nashville. So we would start at Tennessee State, which was on the outskirts of town, march up to Fisk, and the students would join us and we'd march to Meharry, and thousands of students would take the streets, and they had to close the streets. We'd march downtown. And a lot of people don't know that before they would let you sit in or take a lead position, you had to go through a test. I never could pass a test.
You had to go through a test?
Yes. They would put you on a stool and they'd slap you, knock you off the stool, do everything. You had to prove that you would not fight back.
Right. Okay. That it would be nonviolent.
You had to be nonviolent.
Okay.
I wasn't that. I didn't fit that mold.
Okay.
And they would choose you after you went through the test. A lot of people don't know that those sit-ins, when you were sitting in, you had been through some tests. You'd already been beat up.
Right.
You'd been kicked, everything. So it was it was a spiritual revolution. And I just told somebody, I remember when I knew that I had changed. I was from Memphis, and Nashville was 200 miles away. And many times we went home on the weekend. We'd drive home on the weekend.
Okay.
I went home one weekend, and the insurance man came.
It's good if you sit back. I get the light's better for you.
The insurance man, who was white, came by to collect the insurance. At that time, they wouldn't go and go collect the insurance. And he came in my mother's house. He never took his hat off, called her by her first name, and she was about to hand him the money. This was a moment that I knew I had changed. And I said, give me the money. And I told him, take that hat off your head. And don't you ever call my mother by her first name again. I realized at that point something had happened to me. I was different. That's at the point, I just wasn't marching. But something had happened internally. So it was a spiritual experience. And many students, their parents would say, don't march. When their parents, where they worked, they would say, is your son or your daughter in the march? And if you tell them they were, they would fire you.
You mean like a black employer would fire
No,
a black
white person employing a maid or whatever.
Oh, geez.
And if they would tell them, don't you have your children up there marching? And if they knew that their worker child was marching in the sit-in, they would fire them. They'd tell them, tell your daughter, tell your son not to march. It was vicious. It was terrible. They bombed our lawyer's house. He just didn't escape getting killed. He was sleeping in a different part of the house. So it was a time it was a great time. But after the Civil Rights Movement, things really got a lot better for black people. It really did. You saw the difference. Now I see the tension between white and blacks again. You feel it.
Let me stop there.